Today Leo didn't work late. He came home early. The minute he walked in, he headed for the shower. His phone lay face down on the couch, vibrating non-stop. I picked it up and looked. Texts kept erupting on the lock screen. You swear you'll divorce her right after she gives birth? Let me tell you, don't you dare go soft on your little wife, or we both go down in flames. The sender sounded furious, yet my heart felt suddenly lighter. So his distance, his coldness, weren't proof I was unlovable. I exhaled slowly. The papers in the drawer finally had a purpose. Before we go on, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening. Since the wedding, my husband had spent every evening working late at the office. Tonight was different. Home before 6. Straight into the bathroom. Leo's a neat freak. He hates anyone invading his space, even me. His wife. We hadn't slept together once in the months since the wedding. I wondered if he was asexual. When I asked, he said he was afraid of hurting me. I believed he was being considerate, giving me time to ease into the role of wife. We'd met through matchmaking and married after only a month of dating. Our bond had never run deep. Marriage had always unsettled me. Anxiety, restlessness, irritation. Perhaps he sensed it too, but avoidance wasn't a plan. Once married, we should move to the next chapter. Everything should unfold naturally. I steeled myself, decided to take the lead, to push us closer, to start a deeper conversation. Heart hammering, cheeks burning. I gripped the bathroom door handle. I pulled and stepped inside. He stood with his back to me, water sliding down every curve. I'd never seen a naked man before. I froze. He heard the click, spun around, eyes sharp as blades. I flinched, face draining. Out. His voice stabbed me icy cold. I pretended calm, shut the door, then collapsed on the couch. Remote, resistant, cold. While dating he'd been restrained yet tender, attentive. Why had everything changed the moment we married? I couldn't understand. My whole body trembled, in rhythm with the phone still vibrating. It lay corner down on the cushion, almost invisible, until another buzz. While dating he'd shown me his phone once. Now, as his wife, I had even more right. I made up my mind, reached over, lifted it. Texts kept flashing on the lock screen. You swear you'll divorce her right after she gives birth? Let me tell you, don't you dare go soft on your little wife, or we both go down in flames. Contact name, Chase. My mouth twisted stiffly. My hand shook. I couldn't believe. Tears blurred everything. Thinking of my boldness moments ago, I felt nothing but shame. All my life, I'd been the good girl my parents prized. I'd never crossed a line. What was meant as playful intimacy now made me a joke. The water shut off. Panicked. I nearly dropped the phone before I could screenshot. Once the evidence was safe, I returned the device exactly as I'd found it. I clutched my own phone like a life raft and slipped back into the bedroom. Through the door, I heard the TV switch on. My shoulders eased a fraction. Face to face right now. I knew I couldn't trust myself to stay calm. His laughter drifted in while I drowned in questions. When had it started? Before the wedding, or after? All those late nights, was he with someone else? A coworker? Maybe. Their startup was brand new. Barely a dozen employees. All around his age. Men and women tight as family. He'd rather spend weekends at team potlucks than eat at home. Bang. A sudden slap of the door made my heart leap. Before I could answer, it swung wide. Our family sure married a princess. Expects to be begged to the table. Dorothy muttered on and on. I gave her a flat stare. I hate people who never knock. Before, I swallowed it for Dorothy's sake. Now my irritation showed. Seeing my face, she faltered, tone softening instinctively. Come eat. My boy's actually home early. Let's dine as a family. Watching her switch masks, I sneered. People only bully the soft. I played polite, so everyone squeezed me like a plum. Leo sat on the couch. When he noticed me, his grip on his phone tightened. Every muscle taut. Babe, he scratched his head, thinking fast. Let me dish you some rice. Got yourself a wife and forgot your mom? Your heart's flown? Dorothy crooned beside him. He must have seen the messages. The cold stranger vanished, replaced by the sweet boyfriend act. All through dinner Dorothy stared as Leo piled food on my plate, clicking her tongue. Look at you lovebirds, makes Vance an old woman jealous. No one spoils me anymore. Leo hurried to oblige. Mom, let me spoil you too. Dorothy stroked his hair like he was still 5. A son is life's greatest gift. Everyone envies me. Then she flipped straight to the baby channel. So, when am I getting a grandchild? People already call me grandma. Imagine me pushing a chubby boy through town. Such face I'd have. Mom, Leo's face darkened at the word child. No rush. We want a few years to play first. I frowned, puzzled. Wasn't the other woman pushing for this? Kids these days, always playing. Can't you indulge your mom? Dorothy pouted, nudging him. Their heads almost touched as she leaned in. Nausea washed over me. He cuddled his mom. Cuddled someone outside. What was I? Furniture. They sat on one side. Plates lined between them like a border excluding me. Eat. Don't talk. wasn't that your favorite rule? I tossed Dorothy's old line back. You, seeing me pick at my food. Leo lost steam, realizing my mood. He remembered something and added more chili chicken to my bowl. I almost laughed. Every bite was Dorothy's favorite spice. Did he forget I can't handle heat? When we dated, he never mixed them up. The meal tasted like dust. 2 bites and I quit. Before, if Leo stayed out, Dorothy skipped cooking and everyone fended for themselves. Tonight, even delicacies were cardboard. About to enter the bedroom, a glint caught my eye. I paused at the door, staring at the hallway mirror. In its reflection I saw them. Dorothy leaned to Leo's ear. Son, how did you pick that woman? She's not 1/10 of Brianna. Brianna always leaves me beaming. She didn't care if I heard. Or maybe she wanted me to. Brianna, a symbol surfaced from memory. Could that contact name equal the woman herself? Who was Brianna? I found out fast. The next day she was sitting on the sofa, chatting with Dorothy, who was laughing so hard she could barely breathe. Dorothy introduced her eagerly. This is Brianna. She grew up with Leo and now works at the same company. Brianna looked at me, her expression unreadable. A smile hooked the corner of her mouth, but her eyes stayed flat, polite yet smug. Hi, sis. So the woman on the phone had walked straight into my house. Was she pressuring me, taunting me? I smiled faintly back and sat down beside them. Brianna, is our Leo on the promotion list this time? Dorothy asked. I learned from their chatter that Brianna was actually Leo's boss and Dorothy's best friend's daughter. Dorothy had invited her over to fish for inside information. At Sterling Tech we promote on merit. With Leo's skills he's a lock, Brianna said. Dorothy glowed. My son's a high flyer, just lousy taste, she added, glancing at me. A woman can work, sure, but she shouldn't try too hard. Leave the big careers to the men. Brianna, you're so capable at such a young age. When will you think about family? Dorothy clasped Brianna's hand fondly. Brianna gave a dry laugh. No rush. I lifted my eyelids and flicked a look at her. They kept trading small talk while Dorothy used the chance to lecture me on politeness. Putting family first. Filial piety. When the lunch bell neared, I dusted off my jeans, invented a Vance errand, and walked straight out. I did have a Vance appointment at cha time, the milk tea shop. From afar I saw a striking woman barreling toward me, fury in every step. I waved. Sigh. We exhaled together. She sat sideways, refusing to meet my eyes. So you've finally seen the real him. You ignored me when I warned you, and now you come running. The words scolded, but underneath I felt care. Otherwise why would she be here? You were right. I misjudged. Married in a rush. This is my karma. I owned my mistake aloud. Why did I crave society's approval? Why was I always the good girl who obeyed? No one cared whether I was happy. I'd cried to mom that my husband had changed. She'd only said, have a baby, and it'll fix itself. A couple doesn't need love, only a child. Absurd. Maybe my polite, respectful parents had lived by that rule too. Staring at this girl who wore her personality like armor, I flashed to my wedding day. My best friend, Lila, the rebel my mom had tried to ban, had shown up uninvited. During the ceremony, while mom mingled, Lila appeared in the doorway, watching from afar. I tried to usher her in. She just left a text. I only want you to be happy. The memory snapped. I returned to now. What do I do? She was the only one completely on my side. She studied my eyes. Did you ever make him sign that agreement I told you about? I thought of the papers in the drawer and gave Vance an embarrassed smile. Reading my face, she looked exasperated. I thought I wouldn't need it. My voice trailed off. Too weak to justify. If you want a divorce, the cleanest way is to catch him red-handed. With a witness. She pitched me a plan. Hope sparked inside me, but that witness can't be me. Why? Emotion surged. Without her, what could I do? She shrugged. I don't want your parents thinking I corrupted you. They wouldn't. They would. I shook the thought away. They'd disapprove of divorce, especially without a grandchild. They'd cling to the fantasy that a baby heals everything. And in their eyes Lila was the unfilial poster child. She'd changed her name. Run away. Cut her parents off. If I did something shocking, they'd blame her. Maybe even track her down and leak her whereabouts to her family. I couldn't be that selfish. Fine. This time I'll handle it alone. Marriage is a cage. I just want out. I want freedom. My declaration brewed a storm in her eyes, pride mixed with a trace of sorrow. Only later did I understand what that look meant. Sterling Tech's team potluck rotated from house to house. Soon it was our turn. Step 1. Mingle with his coworkers. Surely after all this time they'd sensed something off. I broached it with Dorothy, voicing concern for Leo's career and suggesting he host the potluck at home to keep his lonely mother company. Thinking of her always absent son and his upcoming promotion, she jumped at the idea. We clapped it sealed. So this week's potluck landed at our place, with Dorothy eager to parade her culinary skills. Early on the day, I stood on the balcony watching. Leo's car rolled into the complex and parked. The driver hopped out and opened the rear door. 2 men and 1 woman climbed out. Soon the elevator dinged. I waited at the door. It opened to a guy clutching grocery bags, dressed hip with a hint of makeup, looking fresh out of college. Brianna stepped in second to last, empty-handed, and Leo followed with drinks and ingredients. Brianna said, "A couple more are coming in the next car." Everyone moved to the living room while Leo ducked into the kitchen to help Dorothy. The rest chatted. Promotion talk bubbled up. Brianna said, "I hear the boss is leaning toward either Leo or Ryan. Wonder which of you is better?" The guy who'd caught my eye answered, "Leo's stronger, but I'm no slouch. Could go either way." Confidence radiated. He looked more promising than the scumbag. I nodded appreciatively. His name was Ryan. Noticing the wedding candy red paper cut out on the window, he said, "Sis, you and Leo got hitched without inviting us. We only knew when the candies showed up on our desks." A jolt, then clarity. No wonder Leo hadn't invited coworkers. Only relatives. He'd been afraid she would see. They matched. Talented, beautiful, their family's old friends, so why the blind date? Why pick me? The earlier text flashed. "You sure I can divorce once she gives birth?" Baby, the keyword slammed home. I finally saw their plan. I was just the uterus. Time to probe. Leo was afraid of wasting your time. The company's swamped. He barely squeezed out a weekend to marry, I said, covering for the jerk. They exchanged glances, stunned. Then Brianna preened. "Not at all. The boss rushes home to his wife and kid. We clock out on time. Sterling Tech never makes us work late." My gaze fixed on the delicate stud glinting in Brianna's left earlobe. Vance's exact twin to the one I'd found in Leo's jewelry box. Further testing was pointless. I looked away, studied the man across from me, and mused aloud. No wonder he volunteers to work late for the promotion. He works so hard for this family. Ding dong, the second shift had arrived. Leo carried a platter out just then, and Dorothy bustled over to seat everyone, matchmaking with every placement. The long rectangular table had its longer sides facing the aisle and the sideboard. The shorter ends pointed at the window and the sofa. The coworkers sat along the long sides. Dorothy and her husband took the window end. Brianna had originally parked herself on the long side closest to Dorothy, decided it was cramped, and scooted over to sit opposite them, directly across from my husband. Ryan slid into Brianna's vacated spot and suddenly had breathing room. My cheating husband stood to pour drinks for everyone. When the bottles were empty, he handed the last one to Ryan and told him to set it on the sideboard. Body language never lies. Brianna served Leo first, then the people next to her. The moment she saw Brianna's glass was empty, Leo was there to top it off. While he was at it, he refilled Ryan, who was still holding the bottle, and I even got a splash. They were putting on quite a show, anything to keep me from noticing. I laughed coldly inside. When the team potluck broke up and they started to leave, I seized the moment. "Please add me to every group chat," I said sweetly. "Keep an eye on him for me. Make sure he doesn't work so late next time. Mom and I are waiting at home. Family matters more than money." Dorothy nodded along. Later, while I pretended to tidy the kitchen, I poured my heart out to Dorothy. "He's never home before midnight. How are we supposed to have a baby?" Hearing both speeches, my husband looked stunned. For the next few days he came home early, but we didn't speak. He just parked himself in front of his computer and gamed. I watched the clock, wondering how many days they could stay apart. Wednesday night, he was mid-game when his phone shrilled. I glanced over. He slammed the handset face down. "Who was that?" I asked. "Something urgent?" His mouth went stiff. "Nah. The game chat's blowing up. Guess I left the sound on." "Oh, okay." I strolled toward the bathroom as if I didn't care. Behind me I heard the softest sigh of relief. The next morning he announced he had a 4-day business trip to Bayview. He wouldn't be back until Monday night. I thought, opportunity knocks. Sure enough, when I casually asked a coworker, the company had only booked him for 3 days. Ding, my phone lit up. The tracking app showed a package about to be delivered to San Francisco Harbor in Bayview. The thumbnail revealed a lace, high-slit 2-piece set, complete with a fuzzy pom-pom gift. Now I knew she was there. The glow of the screen reflected in my eyes, hiding the smile spreading across my face. Claiming I needed to pick up a delivery, I had his shipping notifications mirrored to my Amtrak app. Everything was under surveillance. The moment Leo left, Dorothy glued herself to me. Every spare second she blasted the baby trumpet. She'd given birth alone, raised a child alone, nothing like me. If I produced the heir, she'd handle the rest. She vowed. Wherever I went, she followed. Lecturing. "Ava, I'm begging you," she whimpered, tears sliding down. When her son was home he'd cradle her and coo. Now it was just me, and I couldn't blow up yet. I still needed a witness. I spoke gently. Leo's swamped at work. We barely see each other. I can't do this alone. Of course not. My boy's building an empire. You need to try harder. Her scolding tone grated. How? He's on a business trip. I can't even see him. I gave her my best lost puppy look. Then you go to him. Secure the future of this family. Won't that mess up his job? I played the devoted wife, always putting him first. He can make time. That company's a joke anyway, making my son compete for a promotion. He should have been manager the day he walked in. No woman should be above him. She sneered. I frowned. Sterling Teka's current manager was Brianna. Morally, I despised her, but professionally she landed clients, charmed execs, and kept the staff in line. In Dorothy's universe, only her son existed. If I later caught Leo cheating, even produced proof, she'd still take his side. What then? I shook the thought away. One step, then the next. I'll go. Come with me, Mom. I read her longing and issued the invitation. What would I do? Her hands refused, but her face lit up. Family vacation, I continued. You and I tour around first. Then when he finishes we'll all be together. She hesitated. I squeezed her hand. Leo would hate leaving you home alone. Let's go together. She nodded, shy smile blooming. We left the next afternoon. The moment we stepped off the Amtrak train, Dorothy said, Brianna's a local. She's picking us up. See where she is. My feet froze. She waits until now to tell me. If Brianna knew I was coming, she'd be on guard. This mission was dead on arrival. I exhaled, every ounce of energy draining away. Fine. Vacation it is. Brianna waited at the exit, greeting us and grabbing bags. God, Mom, let me host you guys the next few days. She tapped my shoulder. Sis-in-law. Carsick. You look wiped. I met her eyes. Her lips curled in mocking victory. I nodded weakly. Inside, I swore I'd find evidence and expose her. She drove us to the harbor. It was past midnight. We'd sightsee tomorrow. Tonight we rested. They'd booked a twin room. 2 beds, 1 big sofa, a table and chairs. I was lying there when odd noises started. Dorothy looked up from her phone at me across the gap. Sounds like next door. We listened. The sounds shifted, gasps mixed with low groans, pitch rising and falling. 2 voices, both husky, impossible to gender. Suddenly the volume spiked. The word, Big Brother, crystal clear. 2 men. I darted my eyes everywhere, then collided with Dorothy's stare. Nowadays people are tolerant, but Dorothy is old school. I had no clue how she'd react. To my shock, she erupted in fury. She crushed a wet wipe in her fist. Her face twisted. I stared, puzzled, as she muttered to herself, trapped in a nightmare. I caught the phrases, liking men goes against nature, can't make babies, disgusting creatures, seducing other women's husbands. They deserve to be erased. My eyes went round. Why jump to other women's husbands? These were strangers. Her venom made no sense. Her pupils were unfocused, lost in memory. Had she seen this before? The noises faded. Dorothy unclenched. She pulled the blanket over herself like a robot and shut down for the night. I stared at her, not knowing how to react, and drifted into a silent sleep. The next day Brianna called. She would pick us up for lunch a little later. After we woke, Dorothy was visibly low. I couldn't stay in the room another second, so I decided to go downstairs for air. While I stood at the elevators, staring at the buttons, a sudden hunch hit me. On instinct, I ducked into the stairwell to watch from the shadows. Ding! The doors slid open and a guy in a pink t-shirt stepped out. When he turned, I slipped forward and studied his back. Puzzled. Ryan was staying at this hotel too. Was his whole company on vacation? No, today was Saturday. Unless you were on a business trip, everyone else should be off. Why was I even wondering why he was here? People travel. Besides, the coworkers were tight. They swapped hotel recommendations all the time. I shook my head, emptied my mind, and stepped into the elevator. A faint perfume lingered inside. Even the elevators smelled good here. If you weren't here for an agenda, this place would be a sweet vacation pick. I wandered the lobby aimlessly. The shadow on the floor kept creeping toward me, growing larger. I looked up. Brianna was marching over, face stern. She pressed her lips together and stared, on the verge of speaking. I felt baffled under that gaze. Was she about to confess? Or was she taking charge, pressuring me to divorce, just like those texts? Either way, we shared the same goal, ending my marriage. Maybe we could team up, if only briefly. She made up her mind, grabbed my arm, and pulled me into a cha time. A bubble tea shop is public. It really isn't the place for this talk. The moment Brianna's words left her mouth, the staff froze for a split second and their eyes flicked toward us. The girl at the next table slipped off her headphones and smoothed her hair. I don't know why I noticed every tiny detail around me. Her revelation shocked me. Suddenly every earlier doubt made sense. My heart wouldn't stop pounding, so I scanned the room to distract myself, to keep the beat from swallowing me whole. I thought stories like this only showed up in clickbait posts, meant to milk outrage and boost account stats. But art comes from life, and posts are just life dressed up. My gut wanted to believe her. Why invent something this ugly? Still, I couldn't accept it was happening to me. I'd thought it was distant, the way novels are distant. Proof? I blurted without thinking. She hooked the corner of her mouth, remembering that smirk. A wave of anger rose. Why hadn't she told me sooner? She'd enjoyed the show. Why laugh at me? Laughing because I'm too stupid to see the truth? Confusion flashed in her eyes. Why assume I'm mocking you? I'm just warning you. You kept smiling. What's so funny? I clenched my fists, tears pooling. She touched her lips, then shrugged. I had a lip flip. This is my only expression. Does it look weird? I stood frozen. I'd read her all wrong. I dropped my head. The anger in my chest leaked away. Whether it's Lila, the scumbag, or Brianna, I keep projecting my own crap onto them. I covered my face. Tears soaked my palms. My earlier antics must have looked pathetic. Now that I replay them, I realize how lousy I am. I'm a failure. Seeing me fall apart, Brianna's eyes went wide. He's not worth it. Just divorce and go home. That cracked me completely. I don't have a home. I'm just the daughter-in-law they groomed. I finally see it. When I complained to my parents, they said, once you give them a kid, your job's done. Do whatever you want. Is my only value producing a grandchild? Brianna floundered. Sorry, wrong thing to say. I really didn't know what to do. Brianna lost patience and brought out her CEO aura. What are you even crying about? Rent a place alone. How hard is that? Or do you still want to be the family's precious princess? I stared blankly. What do you think I should do? She snapped, anger sparking. Are you dumping this on me? Take responsibility for yourself. I'm not telling you what to do. You decide what you're going to do for you. I stood rooted, thinking. Brianna slung her purse over her shoulder and strode off. Over her shoulder she tossed. Don't let anyone know I told you, just in case you can't leave. That was the real laugh. Chase is also Chase. Every earlier detail now clicks. Leo's orientation is men. His mother would never agree, so he found a bride through matchmaking and lied. He told Ryan, once there's a kid, we divorce. But his actions show he needs a wife for show, to pacify mommy. So he strings Ryan along while parking his wife on the shelf, leaving me to absorb his mother's pressure, remembering the sweetness while we dated. I snorted. Once the ring was on, the act stopped. Back at the elevators, the adjoining car descended and stopped at my floor. My stomach tightened. I edged into the shadows. The doors parted. The pink shirt guy looped his arm through Leo's, face coy. I snapped a stealth photo for evidence. Inside our room, Dorothy was doing her makeup. You look washed out. Put on some blush like me. Brianna will be here for lunch soon, she urged. When Brianna appeared, she kept up the act, outwardly unruffled. During the outing, Dorothy's mood soared. I trailed behind, malignant thoughts sprouting with every step she took. A perfect plan flashed into my head. Captured. Filed. Would she still be smiling when it detonated? The corner of my mouth lifted. Back then Brianna's declaration had slugged me square in the jaw. Your husband is gay. She added that Wednesday, after work, she caught them kissing in the office stairwell. My mind painted the scene. Nausea clawed up my throat. Brianna told me she'd booked the room next door on purpose. Remembering the noises, I ground my teeth, forcing the bile back into my chest. Heart hammering non-stop. They'd been right beside us. We'd heard every intimate sound. I wondered how Dorothy would feel knowing the voice driving her crazy belonged to her own son. I counted the hours. His project wrapped on the third day. From the pillow talk I'd overheard, Ryan was planning a surprise for him that final night. I prepared a surprise of my own. That afternoon I told Dorothy the company had moved Leo into the room next door, and that night I'd stand at his door and surprise him. I gave a coy little smile. Dorothy coached from the sidelines. The second you see him, throw your arms around his neck and say you missed him. Evening came. I waited outside the adjacent door. Dorothy hid behind our own door, watching. The elevator arrived. Leo froze, stunned. I stepped forward to hug him. He shoved me away. I mimicked Dorothy's coo. I missed you. Why are you like this? His face was storm dark. What are you doing here? He demanded. I ignored the question and whimpered. I'm cold. Let's go back to the room. I caught his hand and, from the corner of my eye, checked the corridor. People were already turning at the commotion. He yanked his other hand free. I let my eyes go wide in fake surprise. Annoyed, he said, just go home. home. I raised my voice. What do you mean? Telling me to leave when I came all this way to see you? Am I your wife or not? More glances flicked toward us. Inside I was laughing, louder, bigger, better. He shot me a glare, then softened. No, let's talk over there. He tugged me toward the stairwell. I shook him off. What's so shameful in that room? Someone inside? Dorothy stepped forward. Ava, let's talk nicely. She tried to steer me back to the original room. Open the door and let me see what you're hiding. I crossed my arms and stared him down. He stayed silent. Dorothy tugged my sleeve while we stood off. A key card on the carpet near Leo's foot caught my eye. The second no one was looking, I swooped and grabbed it. Leo's gaze snapped to my hand. He lunged to snatch it back. Guilty conscience. Then I'm definitely opening it. I swiped the lock. The door banged against the wall. Inside, a skinny guy wrapped in a towel stepped out. He's my coworker. We're traveling together. You can't barge in, Leo said, newly confident. Then what are those marks on his neck? I walked to the bed, yanked the nightstand drawer, and dumped its contents, kicking the trash can over as I passed. Still denying, I lunged and ripped the towel away, everything on full display. Ryan shrieked. The onlookers at the doorway pressed forward, crowding the entry. Leo scowled and tried to shut the door. I shouted, snagging every stare. What about the butt plug still parked in his ass? I finally recognized what that freebie sphere was for. You like men, but married me. What the hell are you? I jabbed a finger at Leo, each word sharp. The air froze, then boiled. The hallway didn't care who was inside. Gossip exploded. Holy crap, what a scumbag. Marriage scamming trash. Go die. Even mom's in on it. Whole family's rotten. Ryan kept grabbing for the towel. I kept pulling back until he cracked, screaming, husband, say something. Leo, stunned, suddenly roared, all of you, out. This is family business. He rushed me, eyes blood red. I sprinted toward the door, yelling, what? Going to silence me? I snapped photos with my phone. Then, under everyone's gaze, snatched my pre-packed suitcase from next door and dived into the elevator. On the ride, I got a text from Brianna. Where are you? Need help? Shame washed over me. She'd always looked out for me. I gave her the short version. I'm on the Amtrak train to Kingston, my college town. New life starts there. She wired 20 grand at once. Call it a loan, pay me back when you can. My heart warmed. Lila called too. After hearing the story, got food where you are. Crash at my place if you want. I refused with a smile. I needed to try living solo first. No crutches. Growth. A month later I'd rented a place, landed a job, and settled in. The first night, Mom phoned, scolding, why blow this up so big? It's humiliating. If a man can't keep his pants on, just have his kid and live off his money, she lectured. I snapped back. He wasn't ashamed. Why should I be? Have his baby. Dream on. I'm getting divorced. Mom whined. Divorced women are hard to remarry. You want us to pay again? I gave a cold laugh. You volunteered. Serves you right. Whether I ever marry again is none of your business. During matchmaking they'd adored Leo. Paid for reception booze, doubled my dowry, thought it meant they loved me, then watched them hand the dowry card straight to him. When I found out about the affair, I'd planned to get that money back, hinting they should ask first. Mom said outright that cash bought him a car. His promotion needs a luxury ride. Only child. Yet they'd always fantasized about a son. Once I married, the imaginary son materialized, everything revolved around him. I envied that ghost. My parents weren't mine. They were basically in-laws. I blacklisted them on the spot. Nothing could stop me. Next day Dorothy asked to meet. I declined. She texted an essay, moralizing from experience. When her son was an infant she'd caught her husband the same way, walked in on two bodies stacked like chairs. Furious then, but with a child already, she decided money was enough. If I wanted the same, she'd talk her son around. After he forgave me we could pop out a grandson. Reading that, I wondered what planet she lived on. Was her son some rare delicacy I should crawl back to? Your husband's gay. Your son's gay. Your grandkid will be gay. Runs in the genes. Your family plot is cursed. She was still typing. I blocked her too. That night I tossed in bed, phone clenched. I mass sent every private photo and purchase record to his coworkers, then slept like a baby. The next day the lawyers drafted notarized divorce petition flew to their company. After that, a radio silence. A month later my life leveled out. Good news traveled fast. Sterling Tech bans office romance. One of the pair must quit. Over it, Ryan spilled buckets of tea at work. Leo, too ashamed, had to resign. Mom sent word she was gravely ill. Last time she played that card I quit my job and rushed home, only to be paraded at blind dates. Not falling for it again. I funneled her hospital money through a friend with a note. Sick. Go to a hospital. I'm not a doctor. Career steady. Life sweet. I stretch on a beach chair. Sea breeze brushing skin. Feeling vacation. Tasting freedom. Rely on yourself. Everything gets better. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked it, like and share with friends. We look forward to your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.